Hey, what's up, guys, and welcome back to another preview for Real Madrid. It's been a while since I've done these, so yep, just trying to get used to it. But another Real Madrid preview. This is your Real Madrid preview to Real Madrid against Barcelona in New Jersey at the MetLife Stadium. Um, El Clásico, as we've said before many times, it's never just a friendly. It is probably the most hated, not hated, but it is probably the most popular rivalry in football. I do think there really isn't anything that tops El Clásico. Look, there's a difference between rivalry and derbies. I think you talk about Madrid derby, Manchester derby, like city derbies aren't that big of a thing. I don't think these things are that big. But rivalries, Real Madrid, Barcelona, is certainly the biggest. I think you could say Manchester United, Liverpool, but I don't think that's bigger than El Clasico. I think El Clasico really is and has been the biggest rivalry in world football, and we are going to see this again. Basically, every preseason, you play Barcelona and vice versa. So it will be a good test for both teams to understand where they are at this point of the season, because you are realistically only about 2 weeks until the start of the season. So how are you going to fare? How are you going to start the season off? Is really determined by how you have your preseason, really. So El Clasico in preseason is not friendly. It never is. But having watched Real Madrid start off preseason against AC Milan, and I can't claim to have watched Barcelona in their quest against Manchester City, but personally, I do feel like this is gonna be a very close game. Barcelona last season were pretty poor, but this season they are different. They're gonna be a different entity as a whole. Um, Look, they're gonna have players that you know they might not have had last season. I'm not sure they've made many signings in terms of players who are gonna be there. Certainly, their academy, we know La Masia, they are going to have a lot of players from La Masia who are going to be involved, definitely. And those pool of players are talented. They're good players for the future. But I do think that in terms of play style, in terms of going out to win, which isn't important, it's not important to win. It is important to know where our team is at. But I think that Real Madrid have more of a first team squad right now that can go out there and play like they can, as we've seen last season. Whereas a lot of the Barcelona players are obviously not back. Obviously, they've got the fair share of players whom are obviously back. Robert Lewandowski. I think Gundogan's back. Um, Rafinha might be back. Obviously, who else is gonna be back? Balde is there. Araujo, I think, might be there. But actually, I don't think he will be there, because if Fede Valverde isn't here, yeah, I don't think Araujo will be back. Um, I don't think Kunde will be back, but Ter Stegen will be back. So yeah, they'll have a decent amount of first team players as well. But certainly, the play style, Barcelona, tiki-taka football, is it going to remain under Hansi Flick? Is he going to bring his own style of football in? Ancelotti against Flick, have we seen that before? I don't think we actually have, but is this going to be a very, very interesting season for Barcelona? Is this going to be the season that they go on and perform that they should have done last season? Is Hansi Flick gonna implement a style of football that he's gonna show in preseason, and then in the season itself, that is going to get them the job done. That is gonna get them winning and performing. We don't know what's gonna happen. So obviously this game will show us and tell us what's gonna happen. But very importantly, Barcelona might have had a bad season last season, but they are not going to do it again. I can't see Barcelona having 2 seasons where they don't challenge or they stop challenging after the new year. That period of time, I don't see them just, having that off season again. So it's gonna be a very interesting season. Real Madrid in the first game, I thought I was looking for this word, but it was a bit, dry. It was a bit, what's happening, guys? What's happening? Are we back from all this, European and Copa America football? Are we back from that? Are we back from this? It's almost like when I take a plane and then you land in another country and suddenly you get the jet lag. You know what I'm saying? It's just that feeling that you're still, back there. You're still behind. So is that feeling kicking in? Is it because of that? Or what's going on? Because against AC Milan, it just didn't look, fiery. It just didn't look like Real Madrid were going to fire up. There were good moments, but it wasn't really anything, in it. There's like, oh my days. So are we gonna get that finally? Are we gonna get that momentum that's gonna kick in? And I think that this will be the game where the momentum does kick in. But it's hard to tell. But obviously, the first team, the starting 11, I don't think there's going to be a big change. Firstly, because the bench players, the backup players that are here are academy players. They are from the Real Madrid Castilla. So it's not going to be a big change. So from the AC Milan game, I've made one change, and that's goalkeeper. I think Lunin will start. I think what's going to happen is Couto will come over the second half. The back line, Fran Garcia, Rudiger, Vallejo, Lucas Vazquez, same back 4. But you could see Militao. Same with the front line. We'll get onto that in just a second. But the midfield, I've got Modric, Nico Paz, Ceballos. I think Modric and Ceballos will play, and I think Nico Paz will play because Mario Martin did start in that first game. The front line, I fully expect it to be a full Brazilian front line, really, or Vini, Endrick, Rodrigo. But I'm going to keep it simple with Brahim, Endrick, Arda Güler. And the reasons I have not put the Brazilians in the starting 11 is because they've just met up with the squad. Is the few days that they've had, 2 or 3 days, enough to, fully get into the mood? I think if these players have been training for the last 2 weeks and they haven't been able to kick in the momentum, let alone the players who've just come back from, the US for the last 2 days. Or, obviously this is in the US, but they would have gone for holiday somewhere and they would have come back again for the last couple of days only. Is that enough to get the momentum in? I don't think so. So you probably could bring them on in the second half, to change things up. But I would go Brahim, Endrick, Arda Güler. I thought Endrick looked probably the best of the 3. But they were all good. They had good moments in their ways. But, it was very nice to see Endrick make his debut. I thought Arda Güler, it's good to see him play. It's good to see him, get a proper preseason in. And Brahim Diaz, he's going to be a squad player this year. But, obviously, he has been a player that he's been reliable when you need him. So, hopefully he can keep up that kind of record, being there when you need him. But that will be my starting 11. I think Barcelona will put in a similarly strong team. But I think Real Madrid will win. My prediction, 2-1 Real Madrid. Simple. I forgot to do a prediction for that Milan game. But I'll do it now. But let me know what your thoughts are down below. Hope you guys have enjoyed today's video. Hit the button, subscribe to the channel on already. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.